With Christmas come and gone, the fact that 2016 is quickly coming to a close is on the forethought of my mind right now. For everything I've seen on the internet, it's pretty unanimous that 2016 was an awful year. That being said, it wasn't all bad. In my personal opinion, some really awesome music came out this year. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. Here is my list for the top 6 albums of 2016, in my opinion. Coming in at number 6 is California by Blink182. Released on July 1st, it ended up being a very big surprise favorite in my track list of 2016. Growing up, I was the right level of angst to really get into Blink182, but it just never became on my radar. I had heard of them, but I just never sat around and just listened and gave them a chance. So going into this album with really no expectations was a lot of fun. My favorite song is the first song off the album called Cynical. I really enjoyed it. It gave me a lot of reminiscing feelings, a lot of nostalgia from my angsty teen years. Overall, pretty solid album. Side note, the song Built This Pool, while 16 seconds long, is a genuine work of art. Coming in at number 5 is Views by everybody's favorite Canadian rapper Drake. Released on April 29th, this album had everything in my opinion it took to be a fantastic summer album. The slower songs were great, the faster songs were really fun to bump to, not to mention the album contributed to a bunch of radio hits this year, with the likes of Controlla, Too Good, One Dance, and then Hotline Bling, which was released last year but it was included on the album so it technically counts. 2 of my personal favorite songs is the first song off this album called Keep the Family Close. I don't know what it is about the slow introduction and the feelings that Drake seems to be pursuing in this song, but it was one of my favorites of the entire year. And then my second favorite song was Feel No Ways. It was by far my favorite song to bump while driving around town, and it just put me in a good mood every single time I listened to it. Coming at number 4 is Stoney by Post Malone. Released on December 9th, it is his debut album. As of filming this, it is currently sitting at the number 6 spot of the Billboard 200. Obviously, Post Malone became very notable last year with the release of White Iverson, which is also on this album, which makes that 2 for 2, or 2 for 3, of songs that came out last year, making it onto albums of my top 6. Maybe there's a trend, I really don't know. Another song of his that's very popular right now that I really enjoy is Deja Vu by Justin Bieber. I don't know what it is about the Biebs, but everything that he's put his hands on this year in terms of music, I've just genuinely loved. And an underrated song off the album that's my personal favorite is Broken Whiskey Glass, which is also the first song off the album that is becoming a recurring theme for some reason. I'm not sure why. But overall, it's a pretty solid debut album from an artist that I can see sticking around for quite a long time. Coming in at number 3 is Holy Ghost by Modern Baseball. Holy Ghost is their third full-length album, and if you know anything about me, you know that Modern Baseball is actually my favorite band, and I was thoroughly impressed with their newest album this year. Modern Baseball has 2 lead singers, that being Jake Ewald and Brendan Lukens. It was a really playful way that they split the album directly down the middle, with the first half of the album being Jake's songs and the second half being Brendan's. My overall favorite song, or I guess songs, are the intro songs, which, there we go again, Holy Ghost and Wedding Singer. They're 2 songs that play into each other, so I really count them as one song. Aside from the opening tracks, my favorite song from Jake's side of the album is Mass. And then my favorite song from Brendan's side of the album is called Apple Cider I Don't Mind, which was actually released early as a preview, and it was one of my favorite songs to listen to before the full album came out, and it always got me geared up to listen to the whole thing. Coming in at my number 2 spot is The Divine Feminine by Mac Miller. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 charts, and it was actually the first time I've ever heard anything by Mac Miller. One of my favorite songs was Dang, which was released as the first single on July 28th, with a feature from Anderson .Paak. It was a very funky song that I really enjoyed driving to a lot. A few of my other favorite songs is the first song of the album, Congratulations, another really slow song this year that was just incredibly infectious to me. And then I also really enjoyed the song Stay. Along with my number 2 pick, this was one of the only albums this year that was just continuously, infectious, where I would listen to this album and this album only while it was the forefront of my mind. As I said at the beginning, there was a lot of fantastic music this year, so to narrow it down to my top 6 albums was kind of tough, but I wanted to mention some honorable mentions before I go into the number 1 pick. First honorable mention goes to Awaken My Love by Childish Gambino. I really enjoyed this album. It was a far departure from what he usually does, which is rap, and this one more of a soul R&B album. I've seen online it's gotten mixed criticism and review because of the difference in genre, but personally I really enjoy it. Another good one was Black Star by David Bowie. It is sadly the last piece of music released from David Bowie, as he passed away earlier this year. The album moved me in strange ways, as the music was just incredibly eerie and a very fitting farewell to someone who's been in the music culture forever. My last honorable mention is For Your Eyes Only by J. Cole. One of my favorite albums ever is 2014 Forest Hills Drive, so when I found out J. Cole was coming out with new music, I was incredibly excited. It came out very recently, so I wouldn't say that it's like my favorite of this year. I haven't had enough time to sit down and process it and really determine how I feel about it, thus it didn't make the top 6. And it was very short, but those things aside, I really did thoroughly enjoy that album. And finally, coming in at my number 1 spot is
I got my city doing front flips when every father made a rapper jump ship.
Coloring Book by Chance the Rapper. Released May 13th, it is his 3rd mixtape, and by far my favorite piece of art consumed this year. It got widespread critical acclaim for mixing several different genres, and it was the first album to make the Billboard 200 on streaming alone, which it peaked at number 8. I find this album so special because it's one of those very rare moments where an album continuously gets stuck in your head. There's not one song in this album that I don't like, and because of that, there's a continuous rotation of which songs that I've had stuck in my head or currently singing, which in my personal opinion leads to so much replayability. Some obvious great songs on this album are All We've Got, which is the first song on the album, and of course No Problems, because that was the biggest radio hit from Coloring Book. Some of my other personal favorites, as I said, I like them all, but these stand out above the rest. I really enjoy Same Drugs, Juke Jam featuring Justin Bieber again. As I said, everything he's touched this year is gold. I really enjoy the song Smoke Break, and the song that's in current rotation in my brain is All Night. All Night is such a good dance song, and I've been listening to it as I drive, and it's been making my drives from home to work and everywhere else in my life incredibly more fun. I don't recall if I stated it at the beginning of this section, but Chance the Rapper is my favorite rapper, so I was thoroughly impressed and incredibly pleased with how Coloring Book came out. This was actually the album that got me to download and get a free trial of Apple Music when it became an app on Android, and it's the reason I continued to pay for Apple Music and now Spotify just so I can listen to this album. So obviously those were my top picks for the top 6 albums of 2016, and of course music is subjective, so you don't even have to agree with me. You could completely think my taste in music is trash, and that's completely fine. My favorite thing about music and art in general is the fact that two people can look at something 2 completely different ways and it be just as valid as the other person's view of it. So let me know what you think. Do you think my taste in music is garbage? Do you agree with some of my picks? Overall, what was your favorite music of 2016? If you want, go ahead and listen to your favorite music of 2016 in the comments below. I'd love to listen to some different types of music and see what I might enjoy or might not enjoy. Anyways, thank you for taking your time out of your day to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and here's to there being even better music in 2017.